I've been calling almost every night. She's so pretty, so that's alright. But I can see her on the other side. I swear I've seen nobody like you. Hold me now, I'll conversate.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Today's guest is an indie pop singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and producer. He's got 2 new songs out already in 2021, one called Chubby and another called I've Been Calling. You need to go check them out. They're on Spotify and any music streaming service you use. Before we start this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And on that note, please welcome Marcus Hidalgo, aka Toast. Marcus Hidalgo, aka Toast, thank you for joining me for an episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. I want to start off by congratulating you on 2 new singles already this year. I've Been Calling, which came out January 15th, my mom's birthday, fun fact.
Nice.
And Chubby, which just came out February 12th. So how does it feel to have those out, man?
Feels pretty good. It's funny, those songs were on the back, like on the shelf for like months, like back since like August, I think, and August of last year. And I knew I wanted something to kind of like kickstart the new year really well, almost as like a mirror to like how we started 2020 off, with like a really like fun kind of like new fast-ish kind of song. So I kind of saved I've Been Calling for like a, beginning of the year drop, and Chubby was going to drop whenever. I didn't really have a plan for it until someone, I think it was my wife or one of my friends, was like, it'd be cool if it was like a cute, Valentine's gift or something like that. So I was like, let's do it. 2 songs in a row, month by month. Yeah, it was really fun. Chubby was kind of like a more traditional Toast method with like me and my friend kind of writing it and like co-producing and mixing and stuff. And then I've Been Calling was actually helped out a lot with his name is Will Macbeth. He's a producer in Nashville, and he hit me up through Instagram. He's like, hey, like I dig your stuff. If you ever want to like help out or like collab on some stuff, I was like, dude, I actually have a really cool song I think you dig. And I showed him the song, and we worked on it for like a month, and he killed it. So
Nice. So did you do all of that work via Zoom or just virtually?
yeah, we kind of met. I don't remember if we FaceTimed or we Zoomed, but we talked on Instagram for like a whole day. Like when he messaged me, and then I had never worked with like another producer or another engineer of like anything. We always did things like in house for like the Toast stuff, and he's like, yeah, I'd love to like help out. And we talked, and like he's super talented. Like he's a really like an amazing worker, but more than anything, he was like an amazing human being. So I was like, more times than anything, like if you're just like crap at what you do, but you're really a cool vibe, I will work with you. So he was definitely a really cool vibe. And then it was just like sending back like Ableton projects back and forth, which was a lot because I'd never done that before and I was messing up a lot. But that was a lot of it. We never really did like on Zoom or like never called again. It was just over like text messaging and then like sending like audio messages to each other of like ideas and stuff. But it was pretty like easy for the most part, again, because he's like amazing and stuff. But yeah.
That's interesting. Was it kind of harder for you to go into a new process like that, or was it relatively easier than you expected to kind of slip into a different way of working?
Yeah, it was pretty intimidating just because, like I said, like the whole year, like everything else of like 2020, it's all been in-house in like our bedrooms and like just doing it all on our own, like, DIY stuff, whatever. But this was like the first time that like someone like a pro like hit me up, and I kind of felt like this expectation to like, okay, I need to know how like to do things and like how to record things the right way instead of just like goofing around and like just hitting record and just slapping up a ton of cool effects and stuff. So I kind of had to like ask help from like my friends, like, hey, how do I like do these things? It's like, it doesn't, embarrass me or something. But it was a huge switch. But I think after that, I was like, I'm kind of down to like work with like other people remotely now. I think it's a little fun. It's a little new twist, and I don't know. There's a cool little mystery behind it. That's like I'll do this again for sure.
That's interesting to hear you say that for this song I've been calling, working with, somebody who you view as a professional, that
Hmm.
suddenly like this lens on yourself pops up of like, oh, now I have to record everything perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's funny because I mean, listening to your previous recordings that came out before that, I mean, I do hear kind of like a step up in some of the mixing and all of
Hmm.
that, but I wouldn't say, your other songs are, below that mark really. Like that's just funny to hear that you working with somebody else kind of brought out something new in you.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely it's nowhere like not mixed any better than like the past stuff or like there's no like step up. I think each song definitely like feels different in a way. Even the ones that are back to back and such. So yeah, I felt cool. I felt like, starting off the new year with like a new style and like a new way of like doing things and such. So it felt appropriate.
That's awesome. Was there anything different about the way you approached Chubby compared to some of your other songs?
I think so. I think for the most part, it came pretty traditionally in the Toast method, which is like super like everything is always super guitar driven and it's very much based off of like a really deep 808 with like electric guitars and stuff. But I wanted Chubby to be a little more playful than the other ones. I think the only other one where I kind of like was like joking around having fun with was like some other past tracks like Strawberry Lemonade and Please Don't Waste My Time, but I wanted this one to feel super dry, like on the verses a lot. So it's almost like I'm talking or not rapping, but like, almost like just like spitting out just like thoughts and whatnot instead of just like doing like a melody or a flow and whatnot. So I wanted that super dry and then kind of like a playful back and forth sometimes, like on the verses where like, I'll say something and then like something else happens vocally, like a cool effect or whatnot. So and then the chorus just being like a traditional, just really deep, hit hard chorus. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to do more of like just weird stuff with my voice. Maybe rap one day, but I definitely like. I think a lot of like the past stuff was a little more traditional, like reverb, put some drive on the vocals and whatnot, and now I'm kind of like playing around with just like I don't know if like a whole song was just like different, like a take of like I format the vocals for like the entire song, or even if it's like not even me singing it, it's just like a robot or something. I don't know. It's just something weird. I'm kind of like just exploring new stuff with that, I guess.
It's cool to not have a totally concrete method of doing things because you can learn so much just by changing one little thing about maybe the way you
Yeah,
record guitar or the way you view, how you want to write this melody. For
yeah,
me, I feel like it's easy for me to slip into similar patterns of melodies. So I feel like it's important for me personally to listen to people whose melodies uh, am that I really like, but also kind of shock me. I'm like, oh, that's weird that they would do it that way.
yeah.
Do you have someone like that you kind of look at as like they are really good at something that you wish you could like really be get stronger at?
Yeah. I think well for number one, I'm not like a really good singer like at all. I can't sing to save my life. I think of like very like campfire, like here's an acoustic guitar, sing us a song. There's no way like I could do that at all. But if you give me some like hardcore auto tune with like a rap beat, I'll go hard. But I think so. One like I there's a lot of vocalists out there that they're really good like recording and also performing wise they're really good vocally that I really want to like I envy a lot, especially now we're doing a little more like live stuff smaller on a smaller scale, and we did one a couple weeks ago and afterwards I was like dang I really have to like practice and like get better at singing if I'm gonna keep doing this. So that part performance wise, and then like recording and creative wise, there's an artist, Huron John, that has played a huge inspiration in a lot of like the toe stuff with like playing around with different sounds and kind of like having fun with it, and just formatting vocals were like the number one like toast thing when it all started. So hearing that and like hearing how he does it and like how clean it is too, so it doesn't sound like it's I don't know, it doesn't sound too processed or too much. It sounds very clean and very like, I don't know, it sounds very organic. And when he does it, and you hear in a song, and one verse it's like him with like stacked vocals, and then another verse is like a super like formatted up, pitched up baby voice, but it sounds so like good also. Um, I've taken a lot of like envy and inspiration from that. So
What's his name?
Huron John,
How do you spell
he
that? I'm having a hard
it's
time.
yeah, it's Huron space and then John with a H.
Oh, okay.
He
Huron.
yeah, I don't yeah, who something like that.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, I found him like a year and a half ago, and he was doing some really cool like hip hop, like indie. I don't know what it is, but he's definitely pushing the boundaries with like some cool like really chorusy, clean guitar stuff with just, like some hip hop beats and formatted vocals and stuff. It's really really cool. And I've been a huge like fan since I've like found him. So yeah,
Nice. I'll definitely have to go check him out. That
yeah,
sounds
for
really
sure.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading online when I was doing some research on you on an article from Now You're Listening that
Yeah,
you said something like it's so important to surround yourself with people that provide light and positivity. And that totally aligns with what you just said, 10 minutes ago about even if you're not that good at what you do, if you have a really cool vibe and just a good personality, then I want to work with you. And
yeah,
that's so cool because I think you're totally, on the money there because you can find so many people that are good at what they do, but maybe you guys just don't gel the right way. And
yeah.
do you have any advice for people who are looking to find an artistic community of, like-minded people that they can create with?
Yeah, I'd say just be yourself. I think the biggest thing was like when the whole toast thing was happening, I was trying to find like it was all an accident, and it was just I never meant for it to be like an artist page or like to be the face of like anything, but I was slowly trying to like write songs or trying to like make stuff to be an artist or whatever that looked like, and trying to like be something I wasn't in a way, in a weird like stupid way. But the more I grounded myself like in my like friend's house or like their apartment, playing video games and stuff, the more I was like, no, like this is me, not like this weird, you know, photos and like stuff I'm uploading on Spotify and stuff like, because I was trying to like do something cool or whatever, and I was like, that's not me. And the real me is like me, being in my friend's room, just staying up to 4 in the morning, making stupid music and stuff. So that's what the brand should look like. So I'd say like find that little click and just like vibe off of it. They are like my best friends are like my biggest inspiration in terms of like anything creatively or any music or at all. Whatever they touch like turns to gold, and they play a huge part in the toe stuff, and I couldn't do it without them. So it's super important to find like that click and like ground yourself in that, or else I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be trying to take cool photos all year long and trying to be cool or whatever.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head about really, finding out who you are maybe
Yeah.
before you find this community because, you can look for a community all you want, but if you don't exactly know what you want or what you or who you are, you might find
Yeah.
yourself in a group of people that don't exactly reflect your values or what you want to put out into the world. And I think, finding out who you are is not only important, but it's hard to do that kind of work when it comes to deeper stuff. But if we just stick with the creativity of things, like finding your quote unquote sound is hard to do because you start emulating. I mean, everyone first of all is just emulating other artists subconsciously or
Mm.
consciously, and that's okay. And I think you have to fail, or just
Yeah.
continue to do stuff in order
Hmm.
to refine who you are. Because if you don't fail, you won't know what you don't like about
Yeah.
what you're doing, and you have to figure that out to really get to where you are, where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with that.
Do you feel like there's been any significant moments where you look back and you're like, this was something that really taught me about who I am as an artist and how I want to work as an artist?
Yeah, in the beginning, like I said previously, it started all by like not accident. People caught on and started vibing with it, but it in the beginning it was just supposed to be like a very like small discography page of like music that we were making and little lo-fi stupid beats. Like if you go like all the way down, you find like some really like funny like instrumental stuff that I was doing when I was like first starting off with the toe stuff, but it was all like in house and it's just us and that was it in terms of like engineering everything and putting stuff out. But after hitting a little bit of more of the algorithmic and editorial stuff and it catching on to like more listeners and stuff, a lot more people wanted to be part of it, and a lot more people started hitting us up just asking like what's new, we want to hear the new stuff, are you guys like signed, like all these things, and A&Rs and all these people hitting us up. And it was really fun. It was a really fun summer just figuring all that out because we had no idea what we were doing. But I think after learning all of that, or like being part of all that, the more we learned, like it's really cool that people are diving in and they're hitting us up and emailing us to like work or like sign or like collab on these like different projects or names that they have. But I think the truest and like the best stuff that we are going to do is going to come from us and just us. So the fact of us like kind of like changing up something that's not broken, or really just like partnering up with like other people with like, and there's nothing wrong with like what they're doing or like their vision and stuff. It's like we want to think like what's better for like Toast and kind of like the future music before like we end up I don't know, signing or whatever that looks like. But a lot of just like changing stuff up and people kind of like wanting to be in, not that it's like a weird secret club or anything. I'm very, very open to like welcoming like everyone. Like if someone wants to hear like a demo or an unreleased song, like I'll text it to you like right now or whatever. I'm very open with that. But when it comes to like kind of just like the engineering process and marketing and stuff, it's very like, I think we kind of get it a little bit now, even though we don't. But it's like what we're doing is working so far, and we're just gonna keep doing it until we just fall on our faces. But yeah, I think kind of just keeping it in core, in house, and very like to us, and kind of like working off of that is super important. Something that we had to learn slowly but hardly.
It sounds like you're just enjoying the process of
Yeah.
creating and going through this whole experience as Toast, and simultaneously being open to opportunities, but not wanting to jump the gun on certain opportunities just because maybe in the moment it sounds like this flashy, bright idea. But
Yeah.
if you sleep on it and you come back to it, you're like, hey, maybe that's not actually
Yeah.
the right move for us, which I'm sure requires a lot of patience and foresight.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the type of person, not with music or just life in general, that I just say yes to everything and everyone. Just because I like to like please people a lot of the time. So like, if someone's like, hey, complete stranger just emailed you, let me be your manager. I'm like, yeah. I don't know you. And then next week, someone else hits me up on Instagram. It's like, hey, let me be your manager. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And then it just, I never hear back from these people, or it just turns into a mess, or even like A&Rs and labels kind of like telling us like, hey, let's collab on this stuff. Send me a project or a demo, and we'll have some other artists, do whatever they want on it. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And the more that happened, the more I was like, okay, I love this a lot, but I think we should keep this, primarily to us to like work and engineer it. And when it comes to like kind of just collabing or kind of just like doing different kinds of deals and stuff, I think once we have a good foot in the door and like, we have a lot of stuff out and we feel really confident with where we're at, and we kind of don't, know what else to do, then we can kind of open up that avenue and be like, okay, now we need help. So yeah.
That kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, you have to go through some of those situations that aren't ideal in order to figure out what you do want to be doing and what you do want, like how you do want to be working. So
Yeah,
without
for sure.
without going, without having these interactions with certain managers or A&R people, that kind of sounds like it taught you, like, hey, let's keep this circle close, but not like, not closed off.
Yeah, I definitely want it to feel very welcoming. I mean, like, I don't want it to ever be like that artist or band that's, online and you can just never get in touch with them, or, you never hear back from them and stuff. Even though I'm like really bad at it, but I try to like, put myself out there, and even like the bad stuff, and I'll be like, love you guys. Thanks for listening, but yeah.
Well, that's going to take us over to the last 5 here, where I'm just going to ask you 5 quick questions and we'll be done.
Sweet.
All right, number 1, you kind of answered it earlier, but Logic or Ableton?
Ableton, for sure. I was Logic. Doing the switch is the hardest thing you're ever gonna do in life.
Damn, yeah,
and
I know what you mean, man.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I was like, no. I like my my stock, amps and plugins and stuff, and everyone I was working with, even my best friends, like everyone just uses Ableton, and they're like, you have to do it. It's a lot easier. And then I was like, fine, I'll try it out. And I never bought it. Like I used my friend's Ableton, and I was like, I think I get it now. It's nice.
So
and
you still haven't bought it?
yeah, I don't own Ableton.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but I use like my friends, and I log into his, and I've been using it for I don't know how long now. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I love how you answered the one that you don't even technically own.
Yeah, right. I own Logic, but I don't use it.
Yeah, that's kind of a shout out to Ableton. I mean, I have Logic, and that's what I use primarily, but I have friends who have Ableton, and I even had like the 8-track demo version of Ableton, and I really loved what you could do, and I would love to one day have it, but man, that's kind of a price tag. Like,
yeah, it really is. I don't think I could ever bite the bullet on there. It is super clean. It's great for live stuff too.
Yeah,
which
that's
I've
what
learned. So yeah.
Maybe one day I'll make
one day.
Well, question number 2 is, what do you think is a perfect album front to back?
Oh man. It's funny. I was just talking about this to my friend at work today or this morning. I don't know why, but like the very first like album to come to my mind, I don't know if it's because it's like recent or I don't know, but the not the last album, my bad, but the one before it, A Brief Inquiry on Online Relationships, the 1975 album.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what it is about that album, but it just screams like perfect to me. It's very much like, I don't know. I think mostly it's the time of my life that I was in, that when I was listening to it, that it was a very lost, and like I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And the only thing that like I turned to was like music and listening and writing to music. So listening to it, it was a very perfect time of my life to find really good, like a really good album. But it's like, I don't know, it's aged pretty well, and I find myself always going back to it. And like when I go on their discography, that's the first album I go to when I want to listen to like their music for some reason. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be like that album that like I always picture, like I'm gonna show my kids of like, this is the music I listened to when I was like your age or when I was a young adult and stuff. If I had to like pick one album, and it would be that one. So I don't know if that classifies as perfect, but it's definitely one that it's like I'm always gonna remember that one for sure.
Right, that's a great answer. I have been a big 1975 fan for a while, but I didn't. I never really listened to that one as much because I was really into them. Like, to me, they're kind of my hipster band.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw them open for The Neighborhood. That was the
yeah.
first time I ever even heard of them, and they only had Chocolate out. That was like the only one people knew, and they blew my mind. And then I kind of fell in love with them, and their first 2 albums and the stuff they put out before that, I was really into. And then I kind of just, I don't know what happened. I just didn't really listen to them as they kind of kept going on. But I did like, there were a couple songs on A Brief Inquiry that I really liked.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's just, it was the time of my life. I at that moment too, I was the first time I saw them live, and they played the whole album. So
Oh, that's
I think I was just in love with life at that moment. But
right.
yeah, it was just it's a good memory for me. So
That's kind of how I feel about Blonde. Like when that album came out, it was a
yeah,
very like pivotal moment in my life, and then they just, he drops this masterpiece of a record, and it just became
right.
like this soundtrack of like late summer of 2016, I think,
Yeah,
when
it's
it came
crazy how
out.
that happens. I love it.
It just like teleports you back when you listen to
Oh
it.
yeah, for
That's such a
sure.
cool feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Question number 3 is, who's your dream artist or producer to work with?
Um, I think I'd easily say it's an artist called Boy Pablo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
um,
He's sick.
my friends make fun of me for it, but it's like he carries that like very, not that he doesn't take it seriously. Like he definitely takes his, career in music seriously, but when you watch him and he's performing, but he's literally just hanging out with his friends when he's playing,
Right.
and it's very like, hey, come on over, let's hang out after school kind of vibe. And I try to like carry that in a lot of the toe stuff too, where it's like I want it to feel very like fun, and I don't want to ever be like the cool artist or whatever, when I get on stage and all these things. And I picture like the very like teenage movie sunglasses type of feel. Like I don't want to be like, unapproachable or anything. I want it to be very like, I don't know, the fact that he has someone in his band that just strips down naked while he's performing a song, I think is like so cool. And he recently did like an online show like last month, I think, and they're like playing in the band, and then like the camera pans a little bit, and it's like a living room space, and the rest of the guys are just like kicking on the floor playing FIFA. And I was like, I think that's so cool. And if I picture like anyone like to work with, it would be like that kind of atmosphere. And
Right.
And especially just his music is just amazing too. So yeah.
Yeah, Boy Pablo's a legend. I think you're right. He's totally got that, not taking himself too seriously vibe going on, and he's really kept it up. And I got to see him live a couple of times. Once at the Echo, and then once at the Tropicalia Festival in
Yeah, that's awesome.
2019, which was, I mean, he just puts on such a cool show. And yeah, I forgot which one strips down into like just his
Yeah.
boxers and starts dancing. It's the guy who plays keyboards. They're so
Yeah,
goofy,
he
man.
has like the shaker, and he's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's like the hype guy of the band.
Exactly.
And it's so sick. Yeah.
I follow him on Instagram, and he's fucking hilarious.
Oh
Like,
my god, yeah. Same.
I don't know
They're-
what he's saying in Danish or wherever they're from.
Yeah, I always forget. I'm like I always think they're like well, he's like Chilean from Chile, I think. But
really?
I think so. I don't know exactly, but I know they're from like that Norway, like
Right,
Netherlands.
Norway. That's what it is.
Yeah. I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but I always consider him to be like Spanish or something, because a lot of his songs are in Spanish half the time. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, but they have like they're in, the Europe side, and they're huge over there too.
Right.
More so than here, I think. But yeah, I always forget. I hear them like talking and stuff. I'm like, oh wait, you guys aren't like English, I guess. I don't know.
I think, yeah, that's so cool though, that they have made such a name for themselves here, and they don't even
Yeah.
really speak English as a first language.
For sure. Yeah.
Another person I thought of that would be really cool for you to work with would be Jesse Rutherford from The Neighborhood, who
Yeah,
I
for
just mentioned
sure.
earlier. Especially, I saw on one of your Spotify playlists that you had a Jesse song, not The Neighborhood, and I was like, oh, so this guy,
Oh, yeah.
he knows the solo stuff too.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until a year ago or so. Or I think I knew about it, and I just never dove into it until one of my friends, she went to, I think, one of his shows or one of the neighborhood shows, and she showed me I think it's Garage Band, the album.
Right.
And I listened to it top to down, and I fell in love with it, and I thought it was like super cool. So I was like, yeah, I'd agree. I think it would be really cool. Not the neighborhood, but to like,
With him, it would be
yeah,
really
that would be
cool.
super sick. Yeah, even the new stuff's really cool from them. But
Yeah, I love the new album. I think, I don't know, I have a theory that he's doing like everything now, especially
Yeah.
with it's called chip chrome and the monotones. Like
Mhm.
you don't see anyone else's faces anymore. he's been doing all of his own solo stuff too, and I don't know. That's my little like conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he's just kicking it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, question 4 is what's on your musical rotation right now?
I could actually check my phone right now.
Yeah, pull up Spotify.
Let's see. Most recently played. The first one is the new. It actually just dropped like 3 hours ago. Like the spinning with Charlie XCX and No Rome.
Oh yeah, is it good? I was gonna listen to
It's
that.
pretty cool. It's a bop. It's definitely like that hyper pop. Like it's exactly what I expected it to be.
Right.
And it's really really cool. But
Hard time picturing Maddie Healy on a hyper
Yeah.
pop type song.
Right, yeah. It's funny. I don't know if it's like happening in Europe or something. I don't know what it is, but it's like that shoegazy, like house type of vibe. Even on the last 1975 album, where it's like they have a few tracks where it's just, the uns, uns, whatever, and it's pretty cool. It's funny going from like, like chocolate into that and stuff like that. But
Right.
I think it's just, I don't know, the culture or something. I also have Glaive here. I've been checking out a lot of his stuff. He's really really good.
Yeah, this I think one of his 2 big songs. I know somebody recommended it to me.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's super young. He's just a kid, just like literally just rocking it. And then I had
Yeah, isn't he like 15 or something or 16?
yeah, he's a baby. It's crazy, but
It's
he's so
ridiculous.
good. Yeah, he's so good. And one of my friends, he recently like worked with him, like producing something for him, and yeah, and I saw like a video, and he's like, yeah, I gotta go to school, but I'm recording this song or something like that, or I'm going to class. I'm like, such a wild life,
Yeah, imagine being like such an influential figure in an entire genre of music at 16 years old,
Yeah, and you're
having
going-
to like go to class and do algebra.
Yeah, and then like that night you're just like, on like some huge playlist or something like that.
Right,
So
right.
it's crazy. And then I had Black Star Kids. I've been jamming to them a lot since their latest album. They're another band in like that dirty hit kind of label with like 1975 and No Rome in them, and they kind of fit into like that vibe that also like they're not like taking themselves super seriously, and they're kind of just like having fun with it, and a lot of their songs are just like bleh, and they're just going without like whatever with it. It's not like super polished too, which is really like refreshing, I think. But yeah, they're really really good. They just dropped a new album like a couple months ago, and I've been vibing to it a lot.
What's it called?
They're called Black Star Kids. It's all one word, it's like all capitalized.
Okay, cool.
And they're like a trio, like these 3 kids, and I don't know where they're based off of actually, but they'd been doing stuff for a while, I think, and then they got signed with Dirty Hit, and they're rocking it. They're really good, I think.
Black Star Kids. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll check that out. Nice.
Yeah.
And the last question here before we're done is, what's your favorite decade of music?
That's really hard, but so growing up, I was always surrounded with 80s music because my parents are a huge fan of the 80s. They grow up in it, so it makes sense. But like I come back home from school and I open the door and Michael Jackson and Tears for Fears are just blasting in my house, and I naturally grew up listening to a lot of that. And a lot of like the early like not Toe stuff, but just like Marcus like trying to learn how to songwrite and play guitar was very much inspired by like a lot of that nostalgic, like very chorusy, dreamy, verby 80s sounding romantic stuff. But I think recently I've been kind of going back to like the really like early 2000s stuff, and not so much like I don't know. I feel like there's like a different like realm of like early 2000s when someone thinks of it, but a lot of like the really like early like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Weezer stuff I've been listening to. I don't know why, but I think it's a lot of like moving parts. I think right now it's really cool to have like a 4-chord progression with like guitar and keys, and then like a cool trap beat on top or underneath it. But there was some really really cool instrumentation stuff with like moving bass parts and like wild guitar licks and stuff like that, and just like bleh, vocals and stuff like that. That I just really dig that they did a lot with like, you know, like the early 2000s stuff that I've just been listening to. But I think for right now, I'd say like that era, like that weird like from like 98 to like 0305 type of music. But
Ooh, real specific.
yeah,
like
real
it.
specific. Yeah, I've been digging that recently, but it might change in like 10 years or so. So we'll see.
Right. It's funny because I'd say mine is probably 2010s. And most people usually forget that that's an option.
Yeah,
'cause
for
it just
sure.
happened. But I
Yeah.
just feel like, I mean, you're right. I think 2000s as well. Like things were really getting a little off the rails with
Yeah.
what music could be, you know?
Mhm.
And then I think 2010s is when that shit like just changed completely.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like electronic music, I feel like has made its like way into everything. Like you can't listen to
Oh, yeah.
one genre and not hear like how electronic music has influenced what it is right now. I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. I think of like me in like middle school or something, like my earphones, just like listening to like Daft Punk or something like that. Just like no one gets me and stuff like that. But,
Exactly.
yeah, I totally agree.
Awesome. Well, Marcus Hidalgo from Toast, that concludes our time here on That Note. Thanks for joining me and talking about your creative process behind your 2 new songs, Chubby and I've Been Calling. Everybody needs to go listen to them on Spotify, Bandcamp, all that good stuff. Thanks for joining me again, man. It was really a lovely time.
Oh yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man. It's been a blast.
Of course, man. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later, Marcus.
All right, dude. Have a good one.
You too. See ya.
Peace.
Now tell me, would you still love me?
Thank you again for joining me for another episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. If you haven't yet, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and you can even leave a comment down below to let me know who you're listening to. On that note, I'll see you guys next time.
Or just forget to call me.